All right, let's get right into it. Back in 1869, the philosopher John Stuart Mill dropped an essay that was so explosive, it just sent absolute shockwaves through Victorian society. And this wasn't just some political pamphlet, it was a complete logical takedown of an institution that had been around forever. This is the story of the subjection of women. Wow, Mill does not pull any punches, does he? Right out of the gate, he states his core idea with crystal clarity. He's not just saying inequality is a problem, he's saying it's fundamentally wrong, and it's actively holding all of humanity back. Now, you have to understand, for his time, this idea was absolutely wild.
You see, Mill wasn't just arguing against a few bad laws. No, he was taking on what most people thought was the unchangeable natural order of the universe. He was basically questioning reality itself, and he knew he was in for a massive uphill battle.
So how do you even begin to argue against something that pretty much everyone on the planet just accepts as fact? Mill was smart. He understood he wasn't just fighting flawed logic. He was up against something way, way more powerful. And this right here is Mill's first brilliant insight. He realized the system wasn't defended by reason. It was defended by a feeling, a deep, gut-level sentiment that this is just the way things are supposed to be. So arguing with logic alone wasn't going to cut it. He had to go deeper and pull up the very roots of that feeling.
And that brings us to the first big pillar he decides to knock down, the argument from tradition. You know, the myth of custom.
I mean, come on, this is an argument you still hear all the time today, right? We can't change that. It's how we've always done it. For Mill, this was maybe the flimsiest justification of all, and he was ready to show everyone exactly why.
And his logic here is just perfect. Mill says, look, you can only call a custom good if you've tried other options and this one turned out to be the best. But when it comes to the relationship between men and women, we've only ever tried one system, one of total subordination. It was never chosen, it just happened because, way back in the day, physical strength was the only law that mattered. It's just a relic of the law of the strongest.
So here's the key takeaway. The system didn't start because it was a good idea or some wise social plan. Nope. It started because of a simple physical fact, that men were, on average, stronger. And that fact got turned into a legal right. It's not a reasoned choice. It's just an accident of history that started with brute force.
Okay, so after tackling custom, Mill moves on to an even bigger target. He goes after the idea that this inequality isn't just traditional, it's natural.
And in the 19th century, this was treated as hard science. The thinking was that men and women had fundamentally different natures. Men were seen as rational and strong, perfect for public life, while women were seen as emotional and nurturing, perfect for the home. For Mill, this was the ultimate mental roadblock he had to get past.
And this is his most devastating counterargument. It's a truly brilliant analogy. He asks, how can you possibly claim to know the nature of something that has only ever been allowed to grow in one very specific, very restrictive way? The tree you're seeing isn't a reflection of its nature, it's a reflection of the tiny pot you've kept it in. What you're calling nature, he says, is really just conditioning.
And that's the heart of it. Mill is saying that society has acted like a gardener who forces a plant into a weird, distorted shape, and then stands back and declares, see, that's its nature. He argues we have absolutely zero idea what women's true nature is because we've never, ever let it grow freely. So, he's taken apart the arguments from custom and from nature. Now, Mill makes his final, killer move. He frames the whole system not just as wrong, but as ridiculously, laughably out of date. A relic.
Just think about the path of modern society. Mill points out that we've moved away from the old world, where your life was completely determined by who you were born as, whether you were a lord or a serf. The entire point of the modern era is that individuals should be free to succeed based on their own talent and hard work.
And that's what makes the status of women such a massive contradiction. It's the last leftover piece of an ancient, feudal world, a system based on inherited status, smack dab in the middle of the modern age. It's a total glitch in the system, and it goes against every other principle of liberty and justice that society claims to believe in.
So why are we still talking about this essay, more than 150 years later? Well, it's because the questions Mill asked and the intellectual tools he built to answer them are still unbelievably relevant.
I mean, the impact was just enormous. His logical playbook became a cornerstone for the women's suffrage movement, his ideas laid the groundwork for modern equal opportunity laws, and maybe most important of all, he gave us a powerful method to question our own assumptions, to stop and ask ourselves, hey, Is this thing we call natural or traditional really that? Or is it just a habit we've never thought to question?
And this is the final thought experiment Mill's work leaves us with. Just imagine for a second if we found a society where the roles were completely reversed. What kinds of natural justifications would that society have invented to explain its power structure? It's a powerful question, right? If power can so easily create its own reality, it makes you wonder what parts of our own world are we just accepting as natural, when really they're completely artificial.
This is for entertainment and educational purposes only.